Ever wondered how some of the smallest nations on Earth end up richer, safer, and more globally influential than countries hundreds of times their size? Think about this. There are cities you've visited, even neighborhoods, that are bigger than Luxembourg. And yet, this tiny European nation ranks among the wealthiest countries in the world by GDP per capita, among the most stable and politically influential microstates globally, and as one of the most powerful financial centers on Earth. How? How does a nation that most people couldn't point to on a map quietly outperform economic giants? Is it luck? Geography? Tax loopholes? Or is there a deliberate, strategic model behind this prosperity? In this video, we're peeling back the layers and revealing what makes Luxembourg not just survive, but thrive. By the end, you'll understand why Luxembourg's success isn't a fluke. It's a masterclass in vision, focus, and adaptability. Let's get started. Welcome to Luxembourg, a nation so compact you can drive across it in under an hour. No coastlines, no skyscraper skylines, no megacities, and yet it has a GDP per capita of over $130,000, the highest in the world. It's home to some of the largest financial institutions in Europe. It has AAA credit ratings from all major rating agencies. Its unemployment rate is among the lowest in Europe. Its standard of living? Impeccable. And here's the real kicker. Luxembourg has not only survived in the heart of Western Europe's political tug-of-war, it has leveraged that geography to become one of the continent's most strategically placed economic players. But to truly understand how, we need to start with its history, the often overlooked origin story of this tiny powerhouse. Luxembourg's rise didn't begin with banking or finance. It started with something far more fundamental: location. For centuries, Luxembourg sat at the heart of European power struggles. The Romans, the Franks, the Habsburgs, the Prussians, the French, the Germans. They all fought over this land. Why? Because of its strategic position, a high plateau with fortified hills surrounded by major European territories. Luxembourg became known as the Gibraltar of the North. But this also made it vulnerable. So how did it evolve? From fortress to forge. In the 19th century, Luxembourg discovered iron ore, sparking an industrial revolution. For decades, it exported steel across Europe, laying the groundwork for its first real economic boom. Luxembourg's steel industry, led by companies like Arbed, which would later merge into ArcelorMittal, was not a side story. It was a cornerstone. This industrial wealth gave Luxembourg the resources to build infrastructure, improve education, and develop a modern legal and political framework. Neutrality, the master stroke. But perhaps its smartest move, declaring perpetual neutrality in the 1860s. While neutrality didn't protect it entirely from being occupied in World War I and II, it cemented Luxembourg's post-war role as a neutral, safe haven, a trustworthy location for diplomacy, finance, and eventually EU integration. This wasn't just a moral choice, it was an economic one. Part 3. The Financial Fortress, Pillars of Prosperity. When the steel boom started to slow in the late 20th century, Luxembourg faced a decision. Many nations cling to their industries, resisting change. Luxembourg didn't. Instead, it reimagined its future, and in doing so, became a global financial fortress. The era of banking secrecy. Post-WI, Luxembourg introduced banking laws that allowed for high levels of financial privacy. By the 1970s and 80s, it became a magnet for foreign capital, rivaling even Switzerland in financial discretion. But here's what makes Luxembourg unique. It didn't hide behind secrecy forever. As the world moved toward transparency and accountability, Luxembourg pivoted. It modernized regulations, cracked down on illicit finance, and embraced EU financial standards. Today, it's not known for secrecy. It's known for expertise, stability, and trust. A global fund powerhouse, Luxembourg is the second largest fund domicile in the world after the US. It holds more than 5 trillion euros in assets under management. Why? Because it built a legal and regulatory ecosystem that makes it extremely efficient for cross-border investment. Funds can be structured, launched, and distributed across multiple European countries with minimal friction. That's huge for global asset managers. European institutions, home advantage. Let's not forget, Luxembourg is one of the founding members of the European Union, NATO, the Schengen area, the Eurozone, and it hosts major institutions like the European Investment Bank, which drives massive development projects across the continent. This is soft power and hard capital combined. A nation that relies too heavily on one sector is vulnerable. Luxembourg knows this. That's why it spent the last 2 decades investing in something far more futuristic. Innovation. Space. The final investment frontier. In 2016, Luxembourg became the first country in Europe to propose laws around space mining, the extraction of resources from asteroids. Why would a country of 660,000 people make a play in outer space? Because it understands that early positioning in future industries pays off. Luxembourg now hosts numerous space startups, has invested in satellite communication, and supports the Luxembourg Space Agency. Green finance and ESG leadership. In a world moving towards sustainability, Luxembourg has taken a leadership role in green finance. It launched the Luxembourg Green Exchange, the world's first platform dedicated entirely to green bonds and ESG-focused investments. Billions of euros are funneled into climate-focused projects, and Luxembourg is setting the tone for finance with purpose, digital infrastructure, and talent. Luxembourg isn't just building industries, it's building the infrastructure and human capital to support them. With massive investment in AI research, cybersecurity, high-speed fiber networks, and data centers that support Europe's digital backbone, it's become a trusted digital hub in an increasingly data-driven world. And let's talk talent. Almost 50% of the population is foreign-born. People from all over the world come to Luxembourg to work, study, and build lives. This isn't a melting pot, it's a talent magnet. So, what does all this mean for other countries? Or for anyone trying to build a thriving system from limited resources? Luxembourg isn't replicable in size, but its strategies are. Lesson 1. Embrace adaptability. From steel to banking, from secrecy to transparency, from Earth to space, Luxembourg proves that the ability to adapt is more valuable than legacy. It doesn't mourn dying industries, it invests in new ones. Lesson 2. Find the niche and dominate it. Luxembourg doesn't try to be everything. Instead, it owns specific niches: cross-border finance, green investment, space law, digital governance. In a globalized world, being a specialist can be more profitable than being a generalist. Lesson 3. Make stability a strategy. In turbulent times, countries that are predictable, lawful, and neutral attract money, talent, and attention. Luxembourg engineered political and economic stability as a selling point, and it works. Lesson 4. Value human capital. Luxembourg's secret weapon is its people. A highly educated, multilingual, multicultural population fuels innovation and ensures resilience. When you invest in people, you future-proof your economy. Conclusion: a small nation with a big blueprint. Luxembourg is proof that prosperity is not a game of size, it's a game of design. With a population smaller than some city boroughs, no coastline, and no massive natural resources, it has become a model nation for economic resilience, strategic foresight, global influence. So the next time you hear someone say, "We're too small to matter," point them to Luxembourg. Because in an age of uncertainty, it's not the loudest or the biggest that thrive. It's the ones that think long-term, stay adaptable, and build trust. Luxembourg isn't just an anomaly, it's an instruction manual. Until next time, remember, size isn't destiny. Strategy is. Stay curious, stay informed, know more, be more. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of the world's most misunderstood economic superstars. What surprised you most about Luxembourg? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more videos exploring the hidden engines of prosperity around the globe, subscribe and turn on notifications. Until next time, remember, size isn't destiny, strategy is. Stay curious, stay informed, know more, be more.